could not be on time with you because I had a caucus with some of the congressmen regarding legislative matters that will be taken up in the coming days. I took all this meeting because there will be a long hiatus of holidays, and I am not sure if I could talk to you again earlier. You know, some of my relatives, yung mga babae, the women, were asking me, even from the States, the residents of the United States, why did you have to include the relationship between the Lima and her driver? Now, the crux of the matter is, if I do not talk about that relationship with the Lima to her driver, then there is no topic to talk about. Because what is really very crucial there is the fact that because of that relationship with her driver, which I termed immoral because the driver has a family and a wife, that connection gave rise to the corruption of what was happening inside the National Penitentiary. Kaya nga nagkaroon ng special privileges. Are you not surprised that during her term and for a longer period, when she became the Secretary of Justice, there were special privileges granted to almost all inmates. There were guns there inside. There were parties being held almost every night. There was a combo, a musical group. Liquors and alcoholic drinks flowed freely, and women went inside and out the prison. Now, if I do not mention the connect between the senator, who was then a Secretary of Justice, and the driver, how would you now explain? How would now I explain to the public that these things happened? The partying, the drugs, and even cooking shabu went well, unbridled, unhampered because of the driver himself. Would you think that a driver of a Department of Justice employee could have allowed these things by all on himself? These illegal things which you saw on TV almost every day for about a month. Do you think that without the Lima giving him the authority to allow the inmates to do that, all of this could have only happened if there was the go signal from the head of the department, which is the secretary. Barlaan, is there his name? Yeah, Barlaan. He was also one of the bagman. There's another fellow there. Undersecretary, all of these things happened under your nose, and shabu was floating inside, and it was being, and what was really painful, and that's the reason why we knew, and I know, because they were trafficking shabu from the inside. Were it not for that authority, these cell phones and everything else, the guns, could not have happened. Now, I am now warning everybody connected with the Bureau of Prisons in Muntinlupa. All the guards there and the supervisors. Because if you do not tell the truth before any committee of any governmental body, be it the Senate or the House of Representatives, be prepared to be charged. For what? That is serious negligence of duty, if not I hope it is not that you were in conspiracy with the prisoners. You were there for almost all the time that these things happened. Do you mean to say that you did not report it to your superiors? Or you allowed these things to happen by yourself, only your authority and nobody else's? Then be prepared to be investigated. Because I will charge you for negligence of duty or under the revised penal code for conspiring with these guys to precisely act the way they behave there inside the prison. It could not have happened without your connivance. It could only mean conspiracy. Now, if you are not ready to tell the truth, I said, be ready to be ousted. You're all invited in the meantime to go to Basilan and find your places there and in Holo. You're going there. Kayong lahat, I will be assigning you there. In the meantime that we are now waiting for the House of Representatives, but also which is also conducting its own inquiry. I urge the Lima to proceed with the investigation.
Hello.
And I would like to invite, there's somebody sir who told me there was this UN expert that Duterte is not doing enough. To come to the Philippines, have a conference to me in public. You can ask your questions, all that you want to know. But allow me to ask you also. You seem to be characterized as a UN expert. Fine. I'm just a simple trial lawyer. So why don't you come here
Hello.
and let's talk about what you're talking about.
Nandito.
Extrajudicial killing,
Oo.
I will do the explanation in public for international release if you want. For the things that really happened during the criminals and the police in operations, punitive operations, police action, I am willing to answer all of them. And I said, I assume full responsibility for what happened. Because I was the one who ordered it. Now, my instructions at the very first day of my term was that go out and hunt for these criminals. Arrest them if they surrender peacefully. But if they put up a violent stand, then you just have to kill him. Because I do not want people in government dying needlessly for doing his work. Where you will then be leaving behind a family and children. Now remember today, we lost another policeman. On the average, on the national scheme, we lose about on the average, 2-3 police officers killed in drug operations. I want the law expert to come here and to count the numbers of deaths also incurred by government with his fingers to guide him how many deaths were caused. For the extrajudicial killing, they say, it's not the work of the police to be wrapping people with plastics and putting it in the bag. That is not the job of the police. I just told him that one bullet will do. Why do you have to wrap it? Waste your time. That is not. But we know at the start what we planted the intrigues there. I am just as, not really. I've learned a lot during my prosecution days. We planted evidence. We arrested persons, but we released them. But telling him that it was this person who squealed on him. And then when he goes out but killing, then we said that it was this fellow who really did it, who did you in. We first planted the intrigues so that we would know where they were, from where they came from. It was not until I was the favorite whipping boy of de Lima. She was for the longest time chairman of the Commission on Appointments, Philippines Republic. She was yakking, she never proved anything. When she became Secretary of Justice, she was yakking, accusing me. But she never also initiated any complaint, any accusation anywhere. She just simply loved talking in front of cameras and microphones. Now, she's conducting an investigation against, in the matter of judicial killings. And then she had the gall again to mention my name, Mayor Duterte. That's what I call me. My appellation is really Mayor. That's my nickname. So you call me Mayor. Do not call me President. I'm not used to it. I've been Mayor for 23 years. Just call me Mayor. I said, Mr. President Duterte, follow me as I start my probe. Good. Then we will have to include all. Your driver, all of the employees, Barlaan, and may I ask you, the name of the house in Pangasinan was named under the title was named in favor of and under the sister of your driver. Where did she get the money? Tell me, where did your driver get the money to build such a good house? Can you show me their income? What's their business? And what is the worth of your driver? He was the only one residing there all the time. And you, Senator De Lima, went there so many times. First during the house blessings, and on weekends you were with your driver. And everybody knows. The Department of Justice employees know about it. When you were the secretary of, or the chairman of the commission appointments, everybody in that agency knew about it. As if you're the only one. You know, the reason why I called for this conference is just to disabuse the minds of the many women criticizing me. I said I have to mention the connect between the Lima's driver and her. Otherwise, I'd look stupid. Why would the inmates obey a driver on the mere approval of a driver? Para kang gago. So, that is one round. Wait until we present these guys. They can maybe deny it initially, but there are a lot of ways of doing it. Allow me to ask you 7 questions, and I would get the truth from your mouth. I am not saying I'm the best, but 10 years as a prosecutor was a learning process of arriving at truths. Now, the second round I would be mentioning again the names of the police and most of the senior officials of the police, PNP, and some judges. But in between, far and wide in this controversy, I will now raise again the Napoles issue. There are a lot of billions and billions of pesos lost. You've been able just only to put several lawmakers there inside, but only because the charge is, the accusation is non-bailable. Otherwise, whether to tell, you have to reckon and telling whether they'd be eventually put in prison with finality or acquitted. In the meantime, just there in prison, and that is not enough vindication for the Filipino people. Let us revisit the Napoles case. I have some revealing things to tell you about it. You just wait. But I will, if that is the only thing that I'll have to do until the end of my term, I will do it. For I shall have done a singular task of giving you the truth about our government. The reason why I was raising my fist level, it was in defiance all the time I was campaigning because I was mad at government. People were being framed at the airports with bullets placed inside their bags, being arrested, investigated for no reason at all, except at the greed of those. I said, my mouth is, they say, lousy. But I would like to issue a warning that on Monday, I would declare all positions in the government that were presidential appointments. Or if you are there because of the presidential appointments, I will declare all your positions all throughout the country vacant. You know why? Until now, in my provincial visits, I still hear corruption being committed by people, especially in the regulatory agencies. I would like to point out one, the LFTRB, LTFRB, the regulation board, LTFRB. I forgot his name, but come to me and see me in Malacanang. The LTO and those who are appointed to the positions of LTO, except the career, consider your positions vacant as of this hour. All of them. Lahat. It will number in thousands. Consider yourself in the crucible of the truth about corruption in this country. I hate it. I do not want to give the slightest headache to my fellow human being. Oh, Lima, farthest from my mind is to derogate your person. But I have to mention your relationship because it was your driver who was in contact with the rest of the guys there inside the prison. And eventually, Senator De Lima, it was your greed and your immorality that did you in. Hindi mo na matago yan. It's all loose. I think it's beyond your control already. People are willing. Even the employees of that penitentiary. SAF took it over. It's now under the police. But remember this, when we start to ask questions, you better tell us the truth, or else I will charge you all, superintendents, wardens, supervisors, a case of conspiracy to commit a serious wrong, or at the very least, seriously neglecting your duty. The Napoles case should deserve a second look. For us also, it involves corruption and dilemma. Any question? Yes, Bigornia.
Good morning, sir.
You are the top notcher. Always the first to raise your hands. You must be good at the exercise of doing it. Go ahead.
Sir, De Lima had a press conference yesterday, and she said that she's willing to resign and be shot in front of you if your allegations are true. She said all your evidence are fake, false, manufactured, and perjured.
Same here. I said, I'm putting at stake. At the start of my term, I said, I'm willing to put at stake my honor, my life, and the presidency itself. Nauna na ako. I'd be willing to go. I said, go ahead, change me. I've been telling the congressman, if I'm lying, we had a conference there for some time. I said, you can impeach me. She is lying to her teeth because now that she is, you know, in all of her answers, she was only telling about drugs. Now she denied their links about drugs, but she never said true or false about the driver. And the driver is the connect. Lahat naman sa loob, sinasabi ang driver. Driver said, I have the permission of the top honcho. So that is why. Now tell me, Lima, when I testified in the Senate 2 years ago about the rice smuggling of the city and at the behest of the BIR Commissioner Kim Inares, and I said, Rudy and Nicole, please help us in finding out who's behind this rice smuggling. I did. I never went. I do not go to inside. They are being operated independently of the local governments. But I did my work, and it was not until all of the agencies never knew Bangayan, from the Philippine Ports Authority to the Philippine Maritime Police to the Coast Guard. Nobody knew the idiot until I went inside the intelligence community and asked for a picture. And I said, do not act with me. Give me the picture of this Bangayan. And that is why I exhibited. When Enrile said, do you know this Bangayan? Yes. Can you identify him? Yes, he's that idiot that. And when I said, what will you do if you find Bangayan doing smuggling in your city? And I answered, I'll shoot him. I'm dead serious. If you do it again there, I'll shoot him. You steal 7 billion of the money of the people of the Republic of the Philippines, and you think you can be alive forever? I will take the cudgels. God, do not do it. I will never allow you to steal 7 billion of your taxes of the people. Sinabi ko. Then Jingo Estrada said, ano sinabi niya? It was really in sarcasm. And I said, well, I'll give you an answer you want to hear. Patayin ko yan. I'll kill him. And so when we went outside the Senate halls at the termination of the hearing, Lima, whenever she is faces with the microphone and TV cameras, she changes the aura. Nag-iiba yung anyo. She becomes combative, and he said Duterte should be punished for Duterte should be sued for making a threat against the life of a resource person there. Forgetting, even as he's a lawyer, forgetting that nobody can question my behavior inside a Senate during a hearing. For it is only the Senate who can question me of what I do, of what I did, what I'll be doing. Because that is an affront of the Senate itself as a collegial body, not an outsider, even if you are the Secretary of Justice. The Lima, I thought, was bright because she's a Secretary of Justice. But I realized that, I said, her aura changes from a Jekyll and Hyde thing. Forgetting the fundamentals of law. And out of respect, because you are now suggesting to the Senate to punish me. That is one implication. Second is implication, she cannot do it because she's not a member of the Senate. So she cannot sue me. And that shows that how bright the dilemma is.
Okay.
Follow up.
Sige.
And again, I left an answer that I made that gamble when I was, and I said to the congressman, impeach me if I'm wrong, impeach me if I'm lying. But Dilemma has to face this answer. She can remain the senator of the Republic of the Philippines, but she has to explain why she is not answering now. Her relationship with the driver, because that driver was the one who worked it out inside the penitentiary to allow these prisoners to have all of these privileges. Cooking shabu, opening the gates for female guests to come in. There was a partying, there was a raid, there were guns, and at one time, the guards could only enter upon the permission given by the inmates. That's why I said, send the combat troops. And if they go around rioting, shoot them all. I'd save money feeding criminals in this country. I'd rather give it to the poor and the hungry.
Yes, ma'am.
Follow
Follow-up
up.
question po.
Sir, follow up. Mayor. In the same press conference, you said she got a call from the driver about a month ago, and he was afraid, and he supposedly expressed fear that that something would happen to him, and that he would be used as a witness against her.
So why would he be afraid? If there's nothing to hide, the predicate if afraid if he's going to be used. So why be afraid if there is nothing to hide? From the semantics itself, from the wordings itself, it's very loaded. Very loaded. You can really catch the. Why would she say that? That she is afraid that he would be used as a witness against her. Why give importance even to the statement if you have nothing there? You see that be mentioning it at all. How would you say, I've never authorized you. I never gave you any authority over that. But what would you say about being afraid of being used as a witness? Dilemma we cannot use it as an evidence in court because that would be illegal. And I would not say I was the one who made the intercepts. It was given to us free by another country friendly to us. Even the ATM and the calls emanating from Muntinlupa to his driver. And I told Dilemma, I was listening to you. And if she would face me, kaming dalawa lang, the two of us, and I would tell her, explain to me your immorality and explain to me your connection with the drug people. And why is it that during the birthday of one high-profile inmate, you went ahead inside with your driver and celebrating with the rest of the inmates a party inside the prison? She cannot deny it because there are pictures taken at that time. But she never, for a moment, even to just deny it. So what's it? You confirm one if it is true, and you confirm another if it is true and make it false. I have no quarrel with you. It was you who started this rocos many years ago. You made yourself popular at my expense. So now that you are at the receiving end of all of this, you should not be heard complaining because there are serious matters already arrayed against you. Wait until we revisit the Napoles case, Secretary or Senator de Lima. And I assure you, you will be horrified. Wait until the probe goes along, even in your own committee. Because I will start to mention the names of those you ought to subpoena and to appear there to testify. That the committee that is being headed by you. And of course, there's another parallel hearing being conducted at the lower house. You are in a bind. Please think it over. Seriously. Do not open your mouth unnecessarily. Because by the words that you have framed, it's already defensive. That she is afraid, or he is afraid that he would be used as a state witness against you. So, why would you be afraid? There's a psychological. It's just like saying, I am afraid that I'll be forced to tell the truth. Although forced, but still the truth. I say, that's a problem. Because if I'm called, I'll be forced. Of course, it's forced. The subpoena is a force. You do not obey it, you're cited in contempt. And the other word is, I'll be forced to tell the truth. What gives?
Okay.
Any question?
Edith Regalado from the Philippine Star.
Good morning po, sir.
Why don't you take a seat and
What, sir? Hindi, mainit pa siya.
Ah,
Go out a lot. It's my
man,
comfort, sir.
I'm comfortable answering you sitting down.
Ayan.
You don't have to stand up.
Kasi tumatayo ako, sir.
Ayan,
Sir,
nilagay na, be careful, there's a chair behind you.
yeah. Sir, that's my seat also. Sir, question lang po. At the start of your administration, you were saying something about giving informs or whoever the bounty of 5 million, 3 million down to 50,000 from big drug lords. So whatever happened to that bounty offer, sir?
Tapos na.
You've given some people?
Tapos
Because you're the ones answering, you're the ones announcing, tapos na.
Tapos na. Ibig sabihin, ibigay na. Ano ba naman?
Okay. Sir, next question. In this whole, with the Lima, I wonder what end do you foresee in this whole thing? What would be the end?
I was really appalled. I was horrified. I was the favorite peeping boy as the number one violator of human rights because of the so many criminals killed. And that matter was investigated by the UN. I don't know for the nth time again, and a rapporteur came here. So I told him, it is true that there are people killed in police operations. And for that, I assume full responsibility. Because I'm the head. Now, for those who are really killed in the drug war, in the rivalry to take up a prominent place somewhere there and there, do not include it. Especially about people being thrown inside a sack or a guy being wrapped with plastics. Why would we do that? What's the point of wasting our efforts? When a criminal is a criminal, and if he happens really to fight with the law, okay, sabihin nila, then why is it that they always lose the gunfight? My police department is not stupid. when the police go out or goes out to hunt, to apprehend those selling shabu every night, invariably they are already paranoid because a constant use of shabu for 6 months, almost every day, would shrink the brain of a person. And I've told you, and many of you media men were there, almost on time to observe that they really are paranoid, sick with paranoia, and they are always armed. And even if you have a relative or a whatever, a friend who got hooked into drugs, they would, you yourself would tell you that they are always somebody is following me, that my wife is cheating me, always. And these are a standard behavior. And they would go for it. So the police goes there out. They are two or three. And of course, when you make a hostile gesture or you pull a gun, you're always killed. Because the people approaching you there are ready for a gunfight and we have the backup. I do not allow my police to go there alone. So today, of last count, the other day I lost two soldiers who were assisting the police. This time it is a police, day after. We lose about two policemen a day in connection with the drug campaign. So I would like to bring in that law expert, somebody, the crawler of the ABS-7 says that law expert, Duterte is not doing enough. I would invite her to come in and to hold his finger and begin to count the figures. And I would ask him, compare it with the previous administration. Same deaths, but these were the innocent children being killed, raped, victims of holdups and everything. This time, almost with the same number, but it is the criminals who are dying. You can hardly hear now of a student waylaid or a hold-up victim in the bus. And I would warn the criminals, do not do it. You will die. If you put up a good fight, these policemen are practiced to kill people if they have to. Because they are policemen. They are trained to shoot. If you are just an ordinary paranoid drug addict, it's better you'd be safe. That is the sad story. The Human Rights Commission, I don't know why, but they would insist in counting the dead criminals and never make a comparison of the dead victims, innocent people, law-abiding people being killed in the streets at the same time last year. So come here. You are You're complaining that there is no process. Okay, you guys, you're law expert of the United Nations. Come here. Cut- Come here and face me and make the accusations. And I will show you the statistics and I will hold your finger and teach you how to count. And if you cannot do that, be prepared to answer for my questions. And it will really be a sad story for both of us. You do not publish there with the NGOs about killing. You are publishing the side of the criminal. How about now publishing the side of government protecting people or preventing the killing of people, innocent victims? My job, ladies and gentlemen, and of the United Nations, my job as president is to protect the innocent, law-abiding citizens. I was never tasked by any law to protect the life of criminals. Why? 15 million plus or 16 million plus voted for me. I was given the biggest margin between me and my next opponent. I got 6 million margin. So why am I talking this way? It's the 15 million people talking to you. For after all during the campaign, all I said was, I have a very limited issue, program of government. Even during the debates, 3 debates all across the country, I said I'll take care of graft and corruption, criminality and drugs. They gave me 15 million. At what margin? 6 million. So that I said, I will put at stake. It's so humbling that I said, I will serve you. People of the Philippines, I'll put at stake. I said, my honor, my life, and the presidency. Sleep on that thought, and you'd maybe understand me better. I was never born to protect evil. I was born in this universe to suppress evil. I was not raised by my parents. I did not go to Roman Catholic schools and Ateneo in San Beda and taught how to protect the evildoers. I grew up and taught by my parents to be on the side of fairness, to protect the good, and to take care of your country. I am now 71 years old. I am on my way to my sunset days. If I go to hell, I will bring all of these criminals with me. Just like what, may I repeat, it's a very, when I was a student of law, I copied this and wrote it just in first cover, then there's a clean page there. Then you have the title of the book and the author. And I copied it with the revised penal code. I copied it with my handwriting. I lost the book because there was a flood. I used to live but that was the only house that I can afford. I live beside the river, and all of you, you know it because you were there to cover that event. And I admire very much this man. Maybe next to my father, he's really my idol. And he said, if I were to try to read, much less answer all attacks made on me, this sharp presidency might as well be closed for any other business. I do the very best that I know how, the very best I can, and I mean to keep doing so until the end. If the end brings me out all right, what is said against me won't amount to anything. But if the end brings me out wrong, then angels of God swearing I was right would make no difference. I'd still be wrong. With that message, I'd say thank you for listening, and I go home.
Okay.
Marami pa ba?
Last two from Edith Caduaya, Rappler, and then Trisha Terada of CNN
Sir,
after.
clarification, Mayor. Will the vacancies at the LTO and LTFRB include the cabinet secretaries? Will there be vacuum of leadership?
Look, I cannot go after each and every one of them. It would take, I said, if I will answer all the attacks made on me. If I go there every day, I would not have time to be president and sit there and make crucial decisions for the country. So, I will declare all the positions. There are the assistant. There's always a deputy or even the first clerk. They can take over until such time I decide whether I will dispose of you or not. But you do not, I gave you a warning, the Filipino people, stop it. I promised the people, the 16 million, I will give you a clean government. It will be clean, and it would maybe along the way costs the employment of some who are really corrupt. If I go there once, twice, and still I hear about complaints, and if you are a presidential appointee, meaning to say, I appoint you, or you were appointed by the previous president, but the appointing authority has the power to appoint and the power to dismiss without any reason except that loss of confidence in your ability to deliver your mandate.
Follow up, sir. They're saying that there's a procedural problem and a systemic problem within the two agencies, which cannot just be corrected, sir.
It's a problem that's in the system and the structures, maybe the functioning or the aberration in the system or the flow of that work. I really won't mind. But if you are there to commit corruption day in, day out, please get out.
Okay, Tricia.
Hi, sir. Good evening. Sir, you mentioned earlier about you monitoring some conversations made or calls made
No,
inside.
I did not. I said I heard.
Okay.
We do not have that. We do not have that capacity. It was done by a friendly country,
Mm-hmm.
which I cannot reveal for the simple reason is that I just cannot reveal it. But, wiretapping in this country is illegal, unlawful, and there is a penalty for that. But if you just happen to hear, and it is not to your doing, we do not have that kind of thing that you siphon from the space there outside conversations of human mortals in this place, in this planet.
Sir, second question about the Napolis investigation. What could be now, sir, the fate of the senators implicated in it? Ano po yung possible na mangyari given the information?
Oh, well,
we have
I said
before?
they might as well because it is connected with drugs.
We might as well what, sir?
You might as well allow it. I mean, I'm referring to the committee on the lower house. Itong sa Senate drugs. It's open to corruption. Wala, drug, and corruption in government. So you might as well include it. The word corruption is there. So why limit? Go ahead and let the chips fall as they may.
Okay, last question from Jonathan Miller.
Yes, sir. May I help you?
Mr. Mayor, Mr. President, at the risk of being shot down, the numbers of people who have been killed on the streets of the Philippines since you came to power 6 weeks ago have risen to around 1,000. Now, I know you have been contemptuous of your critics, but they are accusing you of unleashing a national death squad. Where is this going to end? Because some are saying that the social fabric of the Philippines is at risk here.
Good. That's a very good question. Because at the other past, in the distant past, no police was ever willing to really work and risk his life. You know, it was a practice before. That's why I said I take full responsibility. You know why? Because they are now encouraged and even brave enough to have a shootout. The standard practice in this system of government is that when you accuse him, they would always file a counter charge and say that there's due process or that they were unarmed and anything, any answer that could give a leverage. And ordinarily, and you can check this out in the courts, they have to use that leverage against the poor policeman. Now, remember in this country, no lawyer is provided for the policemen and the other men and the security officers when they get into trouble with the law. They are left at the mercy on their own. That was the policy before, and in the previous ones, they are left behind. So when I was mayor, I told them, go ahead, do your duty. But if you feel that you're in carrying out your duty, you will get killed. My God, shoot him first. And they were protected here, and there were cases filed, and I provided the lawyer. And for the time that they are suspended, that is why they are afraid. They face charges in court, then at the same time, when they are accused, they lose the job because they are suspended. And for the time that they are suspended, and the hearing of cases can take you to eternity, as low as it can ever be. The family is not without food.
With respect, sir, you as a lawyer know
Yes.
better than any of us how important this principle of innocent until proved
Well,
guilty is.
Look, Padilla said 2 years ago, there are 3 million addicts in this country. That was the last figure. Nobody cared to find out. Now it's my time. So, 2 years ago, between 2 years ago and now, how many do you think were hooked into drugs? Let us give it incremental increase of about, just be liberal about 7,000, 700,000. So 3,700,000. And the confirmed 600,000 now was surrendered and took the test for drug addiction. How do you call it? Just a problem? Is just a police problem? Or is it really a crisis for this country? It's not even epidemic, my friend. It is pandemic. So what am I supposed to do as a president? Empower the military and the police, for after all, they are there to protect the integrity and preserve the people of the Philippines.
At the risk of gun law, sir.
It can happen. It happens in America. They're shooting the blacks there. It shows on TV. It shows on TV. What's the difference between America and the Philippines? Nothing. So what is surprising here is surprising to us. We see a policeman there shooting a black guy there. How many times had it happened in the past? That's why you have the violent demonstration. So, would it surprise you and me? Almost the same. One case only, 3 cases here. So what? It involves the same principle. Say, for every one black there dead, you have about 5 here. And so, does it make this world more livable because there is less killing? When you shoot a black there dead, what is that? Is that not appalling? When you bomb Syria and Iraq and you kill communities and you kill children and old people and hospital, what is it? And why is it that United States is not doing anything? I do not read anybody in that stupid body complaining about the stench there of that. Look at the iconic boy that was taken out from the rubble. And he was made to sit in the ambulance. And we saw it. So what's the difference? Life of a criminal, or maybe he was really rubbed out. We cannot discount it. But what do you think what the Americans did to the black people there? Is that not rubbing out also? I say, well, it was just one community there, one state of America. Well, but you have there about 10. So what's the difference? Are we here for the counting or the basic principles of human rights? Almost the same.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Sir, last question from Doris, though.
Sir, yung balik tayo kay De Lima, yung sa sinabi niya, meron na po ba kayong mga nakalinya o meron na kayong kinakausap na mga to strengthen your case against her, na mga preso o warden who would testify against De Lima? And are you or are your agencies making efforts to track down the driver and to get him as a
No,
witness?
I will not do that. She knows where the lover is, so leave her at that. Oh, what we have is the intercept, but the intercepts cannot be used in evidence. That's illegal. Meaning to say, you can do the intercept, but it cannot be allowed in evidence in court. But in this, the recto lawyer says that you cannot even try it. But that was the time when we were using landlines. It's now free. It's a free enterprise now with the advent of digital age. You can siphon any of the conversation. China is doing it. America is doing it. Great Britain is doing it. Everybody is doing it with the power to listen. They have the machines. There's a law. You cannot prevent them. But then, you cannot use it in court because it would not be acceptable. So if I just listen and say to you, and say I cannot reveal it, you must remember that I signed an executive order without waiting for Congress, the right to information. And in that executive order, I allowed everybody to even to look at the diapers in Malacanang. You have now the access to all documents you need to know if there is corruption or not. And that is my desire to do away with corruption. Now, can I now go to court and file a case? No. That is not my job. My job is in the higher, the president shall do everything in his power to protect public interest. As president, I got this information being a privilege as a president, but I am not required to prove it in court. That is somebody else's business. Okay? So, that's one. The second is, I have every right now to tell you because you were the one, the media, bugging me several times. We met in Cotabato, everywhere you were. Who is the next mayor, senator that you will reveal connected with drugs? I said, there is one. And I told you, wait, because I have to do something about this. First of all, you have to ask the permission from the country who provided it to just mention it without naming. But that country is really also mad at the Lima because it's involved in drugs. Every country is mad. Even China, they even execute people. Indonesia, Malaysia, they hang them. Philippines have been asking for the restoration of the death penalty. So, if I were a soldier, I'll give you a classic case. I am a soldier. I'm assigned at Holo, Basilan, fighting the Abu Sayyaf. I work very hard for this country. Then my salary is given to my wife. She sets up the house, send the school children. While I am fighting to preserve democracy in this country, he knows now, suddenly, that his daughter got raped. That his daughter got killed because of the drugs. Tell me now, because this is really what happened. If I were the lawyer, if I were the soldier, if I go back to see the child raped, my daughter raped, dead, stiff, dead, inside the coffin, and you said that he was raped by those people, what do you think? I will ask the president permission. Mr. President, I have to kill these people. So why is it widespread? You know, when generals are involved already, when everybody, almost all of the policemen in region 4, there are 400 all in all, 100 in the same town. 600, 100 only in one town. How do you cope up? Policemen into drugs. And so that is why you see many policemen are also killed in police operations. Because he does not surround himself unless he's a drug lord. So, policemen are there. the Middle East guys. 3 million of our fellow human beings, the Filipinos. One father is working in Qatar, the other is working in Saudi Arabia. They work their ass to death to send money, only to discover during one of the rare visits that they are allowed to realize that the son is already hooked in Cebu and is longer placed. Does the lives of 10 criminals really matter to me? If I am the one facing the grief, would 100 lives of this idiot would mean anything to me? I was a prosecutor once, but if somebody raped my daughter because he was hooked into drugs and killed my daughter, my God, I will kill you. Let it be known to everybody.
Sir.
You despoil the body of my child, then you expect me just to kill 3 because there are 100. Okay, I'll just kill 3 because that would be a fair exchange of lives here. Can you measure an anger? If I were a policeman, you killed my son. If I were a soldier, you killed my wife and family, you'd wipe them out. Could I measure that anger by just about maybe 200 lives? Even the Americans thought that it's good. Charles Bronson, he was it Death Wish? Oh, what was the movie about? He was a cop, he was a vigilante, just like Clint Eastwood. They reflect, actually, they are the mirrors of life. They mirror the lives of everybody. Do what? No, in the sense that I do not believe the crusading justice there. It's far different. Man, he has his own duty as oath to protect. Mine is a larger. I have to protect a country. He simply is appalled, and he has pity to the fellow Americans who die needlessly in the hands. They are law-abiding citizens. They do not carry arms because they obey the law. And yet they are waylaid, they are killed for nothing. They are being, there's a stick up, and you see, there's a camera, there's a lady going out of the apartment, and she ends up dead. So, on the average, that policeman has that paradigm. What's happening to this fucking thing? Then the serial rapists are sent to jail. After 2 years, they are allowed to go out. Then they go out, they look for houses with open windows. Nobody's there except the daughters or the children. He goes into the room, carries the child, brings her to the nearby woods, and no. What is true there is true here. The mirror of life is portrayed before us. That's what I'm saying. If it's a sense of my character, it is not an original trait. I have my faith to follow. I've been telling everybody, you cannot build a nation over the bones of your citizens. But with the crisis of 3 million, plus the 500 that are now addicted, what kind of mirror do you want to portray your anguish and anger? Let us be clear on that. But you might think, so what are you? My friend, I am a human being. I know how to get angry. I should know how I would get soft. I know how to pity. And I know how to have the rage in me. How do I react? Well, it all depends. If it's my daughter, I'll kill you. If just an ordinary citizen, I'm privileged because what? Because my children and I, we are protected by the Presidential Security Command. Even my children are protected. But I wish I could go around just like other times when I was mayor. Everybody, I drive a taxi. And I wait for the hold-upper to really do the hold-up to me. Why? Because if I kill him, then there's one less kidnapper or hold-upper in the city. I used to go around because I was really hunting for them. But I do not go out just because of killing people. About lives, my God. Syria, 6 years hence, suffered bombings and everything. And yet you hear this UN expert that Duterte is not doing enough. No, I'll ask you, when is enough enough? For a problem with 3 million addicts, and in our control and our custody, 600,000. What am I supposed to? Do I have the money? You know, these guys, they ask, like the United Nations, why are there no, what are you doing this? You know, the Philippines does not have that money, just like the United States and the EU. I came midstream. Remember that mid-year, the money was already gone. I am faced with this gargantuan problem of dealing with this. But the program is there. You cannot get out of that budget. It's yearly. So where do I get the money from this budget? They are all programmed. If you get some money out, then you rob Peter by paying Paul. You deprive this one department with their money. So because there is a need for that immediately. So you rob whatever is programmed for the people, you rob Peter to pay Paul. For you to build. Even in matter of space, I have ordered the military to provide the space. Because there is really no space. If you just put it at 100,000 per region, there are there are 30, 40 regions here, including the arm. Place it at 1,000 in one region, 100,000. Where do I get the money to buy the beds, blankets, pillows, water, building, doctors, medicines, and nurses? It's not that easy. And you worry about the lives of 600, 500. You must remember that those who are already in Shabu for almost 1 year, they are dead. They are the living, walking dead. They are of no use to society anymore. And yet we have to sequester them. We have to feed them because they're human beings. And we need money. And where do we get the money? We collect taxes to support government. The taxes that we collected were programmed already for the previous year to run this government. I entered the presidency halfway. So the taxes are programmed here. I cannot collect taxes and spend it. This is a democracy. Judiciary, legislative, presidency, all co-equal. I have to get the authority from Congress. There's no such thing as a supplemental budget in the national. No such thing as a... Then you have to wait. Maybe you borrow. But then again, if you borrow, you need Congress. That's how it is complicated in a democracy. It's not because you are the president, you can order this immediately, stop it. How about the persons who have an axe to grind? 600, 600. How many parents and persons and sisters and brothers are hell mad at them? Then you presume that what's the order of the police because you want to catch them all. And you think it's only the police who are interested. Of course the police is interested to apprehend you. And maybe they would really